Okay, before we dive into this video, I just want to give a quick shout out to the good people over at Doist, makers of Todoist and Twist. They've been fantastic to work with. I love Todoist. I am not being paid to say that. I found this product outside of this and then reached out to them. They've been great to work with. They make good products. They're good people. I think you're going to enjoy this video. If you're interested in trying out Todoist, they have offered Superpath members and the folks in our Slack community 6 months of their premium subscription totally free. So if you're interested in checking that out, and I recommend that you do, just go to todoist.com/redeem and use the promo code SUPERPATH, and that will get you 6 months totally free of their premium version. You can check out the free product too, which is good. There are, of course, a couple limitations on it. So check out the pro one because it unlocks a few features that really make it a powerful tool. I will get out of the way. Again, thanks so much to the good people over at Todoist, and I hope you enjoy. All right, let's do it. Okay, so we are here with our second Superpath partner, which I'm very excited about, Doist, and we're here with Fedeka, who is the senior content marketing manager there, who's going to be walking us through 3 different workflows that her team uses using Todoist, which is one of 2 products. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. We also have another product called Twist, a team communication tool.
Got it. Which is kind of like it's an alternative to Slack, but there's
Exactly.
that's oversimplifying it. Is that accurate?
A little bit. So our value proposition with Twist is it really focuses on asynchronous communication. So whereas Slack is very much always on, tons of notifications, line by line communication, Twist is threaded communication that's asynchronous and really built for remote teams and any team who wants to inject some calmness and a little peace of mind into their team communication.
That sounds much needed. Maybe we should check that out for the Slack community.
Totally.
Well, cool. So there's three different workflows that we're going to talk through today. One, how to run a content calendar in Todoist. The next will be how to run a content pipeline. I'm also just curious, just from kind of philosophical standpoint, how and why you differentiate those 2 things. And then blog post templates. So we'll do 3 separate videos, one on each. Obviously, there'll be links so you can get to the other videos from here. Well, let's go ahead. Let's dive into the content calendar.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And maybe just first, content calendar versus content pipeline. Why do you separate them?
So our content calendar is very much a higher level overview of everything that we're going to be publishing over a certain period of time. So we divide it into different columns that represent a week of content. So right here, we're in December 14th to 18th, and we're looking in this column at everything that we're going to be publishing for the week. So that includes a newsletter that's going to come out that includes some of the content that we'll be publishing. We have a different Todoist post. We have another one related to goals, and we have our advice column that's coming out on Friday. And each of these tasks represents a piece of content. So each and every one of those has a person attached to it. So Elaine works on the newsletter, Air is writing this particular post, whereas Becky and I are in charge of these. So it's very clear at a glance who is writing each post and what day it's going out. We also use a feature here called tags that let us know who is going to be the editor of each post. So for my article that's coming out on Friday, Becky is going to be the editor on it. So once I have a draft of it, I can send that her way for her to look at.
Got it. Okay, interesting. So as you break this out by week, a team could break out by week or assume by month or quarter. I mean, that part is customized, right?
Yes, exactly. So we can change the sections right here, and you can just edit those to whatever you might want. So you might want to do it in this calendar format that represents a month or a week or even something different, or you could do it by themes. So we write a range of content related to productivity, to team communication. So we could potentially actually organize it by the topics that we cover. So we could write remote work here and have all our remote content in one row and our productivity content in a different row. So it's very customizable. And right now we're in a boards view, but we actually have also a list view. So you can actually view this as a list if you want to. And scroll down, but we prefer to have it in boards view, but it's really up to the team to decide the best way to view a content calendar.
Got it. So you can look at it as a list, and Becky can look at it as a board, and it's all the same stuff in there.
Well, actually, so it changes the view for everyone. So
Got it.
if Becky made it into a list and I view it as a board, next time she'll look at it, it'll be a board again. So
Got it.
it
Got it. Okay.
changes for everyone on the team. But yes, you can switch it as you want, and it's pretty quick to switch it back.
Okay. Interesting. You know, in my own experience, um, planning out content, it's amazing how many things break when you want to start
Mhm.
doing even 2 or 3 articles a week versus one. There's
Totally.
so much more that goes into it because um, now you have 2 or 3 times as many deadlines to keep track of.
Mhm.
You know, you probably have more people involved because maybe you have other writers, you have editors. So laying it out like this, um, I love laying it. I mean, most of the content calendars I've ever worked with are not set up like this by week, and I like this
Mhm.
because it's very easy to kind of think a few weeks ahead, see the posts that are scheduled, and then figure out what resources, what else needs to happen to make sure those things actually come to fruition and are able to get published on time.
Totally. And the thing about this is also it's very flexible. So this next week is Christmas is coming up. So we want to be light on publishing, but it's also a very important time of year for us just because we're very focused on productivity and it's the time of year that people are setting goals and making resolutions, which is
Mm,
very conducive to the content we write and Todoist. So we've been switching this back and forth, kind of trying to decide what are we publishing next week. And it's really easy for us to go in and either change the date directly here and just open that up and choose a different date, or you can actually drag it into a new column and just as easily drag it back. So there's a lot of flexibility that's very helpful for a changing content calendar.
yeah, I love that. Do you all, so obviously the content team uses it.
Mhm.
Um, do you use this as kind of like a dashboard? You know, if the marketing director, CMO, CEO, whoever kind of pops their head in to say, hey, what's going on with content marketing? What's the plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, yeah, this is actually a shared project. So, the content team is composed of just a few of us, but we actually have 18 people in this
Oh,
project.
wow.
And
Oh,
that includes our head of design, our head of marketing here, our head of business development. So, people can definitely peek in whenever they want. We have our PR freelancer here, so she can peek in and see if there's anything that might be PR worthy that she can pitch out. So, it's really helpful that everyone can see this. And you can actually also subscribe to a calendar feed. So we can add, people can add this directly to their Google Calendar, their Outlook
oh,
calendar,
interesting.
and just have that available at their fingertips without even accessing Todoist.
That is cool. So that will actually create a feed of using the due date field in each individual card.
Exactly, exactly. So people will can have on their calendar when a new blog post is going to be published.
Wow. Okay, that's really cool. How far out
Yeah.
do you plan with this calendar?
That is a great question. Usually a few weeks at a time, maybe about 2 months ahead. So we are light into January. We have a planning meeting coming up for the end of this week. And we also have a TBD section here of content that's in progress but hasn't quite been slated. So at one of our meetings, we can open up this calendar together and say, okay, I think this post can go here and this post can go here, and really just move things around really easily. So we're into about middle of January with posts here.
Okay. Gotcha. And you know, when I look at this, I am just assuming probably incorrectly that the scope of every piece is roughly the same. Are there any on here that are bigger projects like guides, ebooks, that kind of thing that kind of wouldn't necessarily fit into the exact same workflow that your average blog post would?
Yeah, that's a good question. So typically everything here ranges in terms of the scope. So we have Ask Do Us posts, which are, it's our advice column and it's much shorter posts. We really specialize in long form content. Like most of our blog posts are between 2,500 and 5,000 words,
Oh
but our
wow.
Ask Do Us posts are just, around 1,000 words. And those go in here alongside an article that I just edited yesterday, which is 5,000 words on how to read more books in 2021. So the scope actually varies for each of these items, and we still put everything on the same project.
Got it. And when the content team gets together, like, do you guys meet every week or every other week or something like that?
Yeah, Becky and I meet every week, and the larger team that includes products marketing and our really talented freelance editor and writer meet every 2 weeks. So
Got it.
we meet a few times a month.
Okay. And is this like, if you're in a meeting, is this the view, like when you're, if the team's getting together to talk about what's going on, are we on track for this or that? Is this the view you'd be looking at?
We switch back and forth a little. So I'm jumping ahead a little, but we also have the content pipeline project, and we also view that one, but it is mostly this one. We're kind of looking at the high level and kind of asking each other, hey, are we still on track for this week? Are we still on track for this particular date? Do you still have time to edit this? Who can edit this? And kind of making these decisions at the meeting and inputting them into the content calendar while we chat.
Right, right. Is there an example of one on here with a couple of subtasks that we could look at?
Let me check. We don't use a ton of subtasks in this particular project, but we do use comments quite a bit. So,
Okay.
for example, this one that I just edited yesterday, I wrote, thanks to Elaine, we'll review ASAP. And we just have sometimes ideas come onto the content calendar, and we talk about the right dates that it'll be published. We also kind of share ideas. So Elaine pitched this idea and just included a bunch of details about what she wanted to write about. And we were like, yep, this sounds like an awesome topic. Here are like a few extra ideas that might be interesting to add. So we use the comments section quite a bit. We do use subtasks sometimes. So yesterday I was assigned review first draft, and you can see the comments there.
So that's a different thread of comments that are linked directly to that subtask. Okay, interesting.
Exactly. So they're actually completely different tasks. So this is a subtask within that wider project, and you can get back to that task by clicking here, and then back to the subtask by clicking here. And each will have their own different set of comments and activity about who's adding comments and reviewing. So there's like a full feed. It's just like very transparent and very clear what's being worked on at what time.
I love it. One of the things I really like about this is that there's a blog post, which I'll link it next to the video, is by Kevin Kwok, called The Arc of Collaboration. He basically makes the argument in this article that any project happening at your company that doesn't have a functional workflow gets dumped into Slack. And that's why your Slack is so crazy all the time. And so like this is a perfect example of a functional workflow where everyone knows that where the information is, they know how to go back and forth about it. It's very contextual in that like the comment thread is attached to a very specific task. You can see the feed of what's going on, who's changed statuses, moved it around, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, none of that now no one has to go into Slack and say, hey, I can't find this or that. Can someone show it to me? And then creates a thread that dings everybody and distracts them off in their work. Like it's so nice how it's all just sort of packed very neatly into each card. I love that.
Yeah, we have a team communication tool I mentioned, Todoist, and we really don't coordinate content in there. The extent of the content coordination that happens in there will be people maybe asking opinions on a title once we're kind of at the brainstorming stage of figuring out the right title and subtitle. But in terms of the actual work of publishing and coordinating pieces, it really all happens in Todoist.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay, cool. So that's the content calendar. We are going to, as I mentioned, do 3 different Todoist tutorials. So we'll wrap this one up here, and then we'll be back for another look at the content pipeline, which now that we've seen this, I'm even more curious to see how exactly the pipeline is laid out.
Awesome. Perfect. We'll see you in the next video.
Okay, there you have it. Again, thank you so much to the good folks over at Todoist. And just as a reminder, if you want to check out their premium version for free for 6 months, just go to todoist.com/redeem and use the promo code SUPERPATH. Thanks so much for watching and take care.